everyone and welcome to prompt number 95. Oh, we're getting so close to 100 and I'm getting kind of excited, but let's see what today's prompts are. We've got 4. Snake scales, pair of socks, high dive, and belt. Okay, alright. Wow, here we go. I feel like every time I think it's a really super complicated and weird combination, you guys come in here like, nah, Kasey, it's so easy. Here, let me draw something really quick. And I'm like, what? I never thought of that. It was so simple. Well, this prompt is no different because, oh my gosh, I guess it's no secret that I try to come up with some really unique ideas when it comes to the prompts. I really try not to go with what comes to mind right away, but I don't know. I feel like I can't come up with the quote-unquote really easy ideas, and I always have a real struggle, so this one was a real struggle. My first idea was a kid high-diving into a pile of socks and other dirty clothes, and they had a snake in the background and a cage, but then I thought I would just go the sort of non-realistic approach and just have a snake floating there with someone on it, or someone riding a snake with the belt around their mouth, but I ended up going with the floating snake idea. Sometimes you just gotta draw a thing floating there with stuff around it, you know, being all representing of morals, and I don't know. I just drew a snake with a mouse person on it. That's really it. So at first when I was penciling this illustration, I had this mouse girl standing on the snake. I guess she was going to be scolding it or something, telling off the snake, because you know, mice and snake aren't really the best of friends. They're more prey and predator. But then as I was inking it, I thought it would be really cool if maybe she was cutting the head off of the snake, because that made sense, because snake is probably going to eat the mouse. So also, why do I keep referring to the snake as like his name is Snake? Snake was going to do this, you know, mouse and snake. So after I had her cutting the snake's head off, then I thought it would be even cooler if maybe he had little cuts throughout the entirety of his body. It would definitely create more visual interest throughout the illustration. So that is what I did. I also gave her some little mice friends all around. Do not ask me what this illustration means, because I don't know. I just drew a mouse person with little micey friends all around it as the snake got cut up into pieces. Is she on an adventure? Did she go out on a quest to destroy this giant snake that was eating the villagers of the mouse? Villagers of the mouse, what is, why? I don't know, but as usual, as I worked on this piece, I was thinking about what the story here could be, because that's what we do here. Something I did want to do was just have a half simple illustration and half detailed illustration. I knew I wanted it to be simple in the sense that it was just this big, simple snake thing wrapped around, but I did want there to be a few little details here and there around it. I do wish I added some more small mice all around. I thought that would be really cute, but then for some reason I thought it would look weird if there were too many mice. But I guess it would be cool if he was covered by mice. It would have looked like an army of mice and she had come and gotten him or something. I don't know. I did have a lot of fun with this illustration, especially adding the birds. Maybe the birds are her next enemy. Maybe the birds helped her take down the snake and now she has to go back and give the bird payment by, I don't know, running errands for the bird or doing the bird's dirty deeds. This could be the start of her adventure. Maybe because the snake was attacking the village of the mice, she went to the big crow for help, and so the crow sent help by sending a murder of crows. Murder? Because they're murdering the snake. Ha ha. Anyways, enough about all of these possibilities for backstories. We should talk about more of my choices for the illustration, I suppose. I know a lot of you like to be the prompt police and come in here and say that the prompt isn't a big enough role in the illustration, so I copped out or whatever, but honestly, you guys, At this point, I say I cop out on so many things and then everyone says, no, you don't cop out. And then when I don't say I copped out, you guys are like, you copped out because the pair of socks isn't the main part. I'm like, look, I'm not mad. I know you guys can't tell. I'm not mad. I'm being silly. So I know that the pair of socks are definitely not anything of a role in this illustration. She's wearing socks. That's about all that's going on there. The snake scale is just, snakes have scales, so there you go. She has a belt on, so big whoops. There's really not much to say there. I don't know. She's wearing a belt. Whoopsies. And last but not least, I don't even remember. Oh, right. High dive. So we have one mouse on the right side of the snake that is diving off of the side of the snake into a pool of snake blood. So there you go. There's my my 4 prompts that were pathetically incorporated into this illustration. But you know what? If this combination of prompts hadn't come about, I probably wouldn't have come up with this. No matter how much I didn't really mix the actual prompts in. I mean, they are there. They're just not a prominent part of the illustration. I don't even know where I was going with that sentence. Bottom line is, I drew a thing, and that's that. I don't know. Am I defending myself? Maybe. I just know I always get comments if the prompt isn't a huge enough part of the illustration, so I just wanted to nip that old thing in the bud. Also, I really like to draw things dissected and cut in half, so drawing that meat, that was fun. Yes, I did just change the subject. Okay, so by this point, you're probably noticing that I wanted to experiment, I guess, a little bit with colored pencils because I've been wanting to try to incorporate a little bit of texture into my illustrations. So that is what I did with this one. So yeah, you could definitely call this one a more experimental piece. I really want to learn how to use colored pencils in a way that I like. I can definitely say there are parts in this illustration that I really liked. There are definitely a lot of parts that I don't like. Overall, the main reason why I like watercolor is that I'm able to get a really nice, smooth flat of color. With colored pencils, I think I want to use them in a certain way to create texture. I haven't quite got a grasp on when and where I want to use that texture. I just know I do like it, just not for everything. I used colored pencils to shade, I think, everything in this illustration, and regretfully, I think my only huge regretfully, is the knife. I colored in the knife with a colored pencil and it just looks horrible. I think I just made it too dark. The one thing I don't like about colored pencils is that you can't get any color you want. That's what I really like about watercolor, especially compared to most mediums. As a paint, you can mix whatever color you want. You can't really do that with colored pencils. You can kind of mix and match with colored pencils and markers, but in the end, you're not really going to get an exact color you want. You're just kind of combining 2 colors to get a more specific color that you want. But like I said, I really like the texture in some places. The pink inside of the mouse girl's ear, I really like that. On her tail, it was fun too, especially on her pants. I really like the gradient, the really textured gradient with that. But there were definitely parts, like on the snake, I wish I just did a solid watercolor shade. Like I said, the knife got completely botched. It really ruined my blood splatters, which, oh, that was so sad. So in the future, I will definitely choose where I put the colored pencil. I don't think it's something that I want to put in the entirety of the piece. But it was really fun to play around with. I'm glad we got to experiment this sort of failure together. I did go over the entirety of the illustration with some sort of colored pencil texture just to kind of, I guess, keep it cohesive and give that texture just to everything so that it looked like it matched together a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. I also wanted to put some birds in the background that were gray and faded. I'm not sure if I even really accomplished that. I'm still learning, I'm still experimenting. I don't think the colored pencils completely ruined the piece for me, though I think I definitely would like it more had I just shaded with watercolor, but oh well. And yeah, that is that. Last week's prompts were polka dot, plate of cookies, and bubble. I think it was just those 3. You guys were all over the place. I enjoyed the variety in these illustrations, but let's look at the 2 featured artists. I like Comics 1. I just really loved the one tone. I don't know if you're participating in Huevember, but I loved this blue color throughout the whole thing. It was really fun and set a mood for it. And it's also very cute. And we have Soda Swirls, who made this kitchen setting, and I just love it. There's just so many details going on here, so much to look at. And it was really different compared to a lot of the other entries, so I appreciate that. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining. I cannot wait to see what you do for these prompts, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!